Our speaker today is Dr. Anthony Bradley. Dr. Bradley is a distinguished research fellow at the Acton Institute and a research professor at Kuyper College. I'm sure he'll correct me. He lectures nationally and internationally on issues including fatherhood, criminal justice, reform, poverty, education policy, social ethics, and race in America. His writings have been featured in publications such as the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Washington Examiner, and Christianity Today. He is the author of several books, including Why Black Lives Matter and Heroic Fraternities. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Anthony Bradley.
In your ocean, I'm ankle deep. I feel the waves crashing on my feet. It's like I know where I need to be, but I can't figure out just how much air I will need to breathe.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, and I am indeed delighted to be here. I am honored to speak to this audience. My dear brother, Mr. President, Mr. Interim President, Dr. Nunez, it is indeed again, an honor to be taken out of very snowy, cold, polar Arctic weather to come to California again. So thank you. What I would like to do this morning is to invite you all to dream. To dream about a future for a county that has some challenges, but to at least be willing to dream. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and one of the things that used to, was this my, okay, sorry. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and one of the things that used to annoy me was going to the grocery store with my mom. Here's why. I would go to the grocery store, and inevitably I would see a teacher. And I'm like, here we go. Walking down aisle 3, there's a cereal, and there's Mrs. Robinson. I'm like, oh no. Right? And the grocery store trip would take an hour, 2 hours. I'm like, Mom, I want to go. But here's what was so absolutely stunning and beautiful is that I lived in a community where everybody that worked in the community also lived in the community. And so when I went to a grocery store, I ran into school teachers and police officers and firefighters and people from church. And I was privileged. Everything in my life was within 5 minutes of my house. The mall, the grocery store, movies, schools. It was great. And so what I'd like for us to do this morning as an exercise is to dream about Ventura County being a place like that. I want to talk about 3 things this morning. First is, what does it look like for this to be a place that is defined by human flourishing as a tagline? Secondly, I want to talk about what does it mean for this county to be a place that is defined by paying it forward? And thirdly, what's it mean for this county to be a place that is characterized by economic opportunity for all? I do have some notes. I am a nerd, so I do have some data here that I'd like to introduce to you. The first is human flourishing. And by this, I simply mean the following. That human flourishing happens when people have the freedom and opportunity to create, to innovate, and contribute to their communities in ways that foster virtue, dignity, and prosperity. Flourishing is more than material success. It is purpose, it is virtue, it is contribution. People thrive when they live in a culture that values dignity and responsibility and creativity in work and community life. Human flourishing is a place that values participation by those who are living in the community. What What human flourishing really does is it puts the person at the center. Not necessarily policy or even preferences, but it puts the person at the center. But right after World War II, when we were, as the West, trying to renegotiate how to think about civil society, there was a concept that emerged in that time called personalism. And personalism was advanced by a theorist named Emmanuel Monnier, and noticing some of the trends in France where so much of the culture and the economy had become depersonalized. People were simply seen as cogs in the political and economic wheel. And what Monnier says is that what we need to do is think more about what it means for flourishing to happen when we put people at the center. And here's why. I don't know if you realize this, but people are pretty extraordinary. I mean, people are great. I'm an extrovert by nature. I want to work through and talk to all of you today. But people are really fantastic. And what we want is a community that fosters affection and love for people. See, what it means to love a community is not just to love the trees and the water and the shopping, right? And the buildings. But you want to love the people in the community. Imagine saying that you love to be married and you don't ever talk about your spouse. Well, being a member of a community means that to love the community means to love the people. And that requires keeping the person at the center. This is what Emmanuel Monnier came to define that in terms of how we think about being human. Namely, that human persons are free, they are creative, they are active persons who are designed to be in unity with other creative and active persons to build a society in which structures and customs and institutions are rooted and revolve around the person at the center. It's not just about the individual being independent. It really is, by definition, about the person being a participant in fostering communities that thrive. This was so important that in the U.S., at Boston University, there was a school of personalism. Again, focused on keeping the person at the center. And this school of personalism had a student there whose name was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did, he took this idea of keeping the person at the center and changed the country. You may remember during the civil rights movement, there were signs that simply said, "I am a man." And it was a wake-up call to America to think about people and thriving and flourishing, because we have to keep the person at the center. So to dream about Ventura County, I sort of have this image of driving into the county, and there's a sign that says, "Welcome to Ventura County." And below that, there's a banner that says, "This is a place of human flourishing. This is a place where people can thrive. This is a place where there is dignity and virtue." And maybe there's a footnote that says, we just love people. We just love to have you. Because this is a place that is hospitable to strangers. And it's so hospitable to strangers, by the way, that we want to see strangers, people that we don't know, not connected to, thrive and live well and enjoy all of the things that we enjoy about the county. Can you dream that today? That this is a place where human thriving and human flourishing is the reputation. So here are 3 questions to think about in terms of it being a place where that banner says that this is a place of human flourishing. One is, what conditions allow for the greater number of people to exercise their creative and innovative capacities that constitute the vocation of just simply being a person. Secondly, what economic conditions provide the greatest opportunity for human flourishing? And thirdly, what economic environments facilitate human persons excelling in moral virtue by exercising free and responsible stewardship to make this community better? I see the sign, if you're willing to dream with me, Ventura County, a place for human flourishing. Secondly, I want to introduce a term to you. It's a super nerdy term. You can impress your friends this weekend at a dinner party if you'd like, by telling them that you learned a word from an economist at the University of Arizona named David Schmitz, and the term is transitive reciprocity. And so what I would love is us to dream about what it would look like for this county to be characterized by transitive reciprocity. This is what David Schmitz says, that transitive reciprocity is a principle of fairness and cooperation in social and economic systems. Now, transitive reciprocity refers to a system where individuals do not engage in direct one-to-one exchanges, but rather participate in larger networks of mutual benefit. This is what it means. Essentially, he says, person A helps person B helps person C, and then A indirectly benefits from C as a part of the broader cycle of reciprocity. This concept, he argues, helps sustain cooperation across large societies, even when direct exchanges are impractical. Rather than focusing solely on bilateral exchanges, I help you, you help me, a transitive reciprocity builds systems where contributions flow through networks, ultimately benefiting all participants without requiring immediate direct returns. One way of thinking about transitive reciprocity is to simply adopt the phrase to pay it forward. And so what I'm inviting us to do today is to think about what does it mean for this county to be a county that is characterized by paying it forward. Here's what Schmitz means. What's true about all of us is that we can't pay people back for all the things they've given us. You can't pay your parents back, your teachers back, your bosses back. You can't really, as a tit for tat, return the investment that we have all received. I've been a massive beneficiary of other people's investment in me. When I was in college, I had one of my roommates' fathers. He's a great man. I say that because he helped me out, I'll tell you why. Great man. I had a broken computer, and by the way, back then, my little IBM computer cost $3,000, right? This is in 1989. $3,000, had a dot matrix printer. Anybody remember the dot matrix printer with the little perforated, you had like, you remember that, right? $3,000 for that. So I somehow got a virus or something like that, and I had to get my computer fixed. I didn't have any money. I was a broke college student. I had $5 in my bank account. And my friend's father graciously said, I will give you the money. So he gave me $500 to get my computer fixed. And I said, well, I can't pay you back. And he said, no, don't ever pay me back. But he said this, when someone needs money, just give it to them. Don't pay me back the $500, pay it forward. So what would it look like? What would it look like for this county to be a place where the reputation is that we pay it forward, that all the things that we enjoy, all the benefits that we receive, all of the great accolades and all of the amenities that we actually enjoy, this is what we want to do. We want to open this up to everybody. We want everybody to enjoy great coffee shops and great shopping. We want everybody to be able to buy their own home. We want everybody to be able to participate in the landscape and the beauty of the place. We want to invite more and more people into this because it's that great. We've been really blessed. And the best way to honor that and to celebrate that is not to hoard it, but to open it up. And why would you want to do that in the first place? Well, you love people. You care about people. And you want people to thrive. So again, back to the banner, sort of driving in, there's this Welcome to Ventura County banner, and it says on the bottom there, it's a place of human flourishing. And secondly, it also says it's a place where we pay it forward. We want everybody to come here and enjoy an absolutely fantastic life. The fantastic life that we enjoy, we want you to enjoy that too. Come on in to Ventura County. Now, this is going to require some trade-offs. This will require thinking differently about the future. So it might mean, for example, thinking more directly about what it is that one is willing to trade off in order to pay it forward. It might mean reducing some zoning barriers. It might mean encouraging market-based affordability instead of having people rely on subsidies. It will require promoting networks of mutual benefit where businesses and property owners and workers all contribute to housing solutions. It's a network of reciprocity where everyone is investing in everyone else, and it's not always clear how the transactions happen, but they happen. This county's affordability crisis is pushing out people. But there's some models out there. There's some other cities who have faced the same issues and have come out ahead. In the early 2010s, Minneapolis faced a very similar housing affordability crisis, a severe crisis. And they just made a simple tweak like this. They took their single-family zoning laws, really restrictive laws that was sort of forcing one type of building, and just opened it up. We want to provide, they said, more opportunities for more people to enjoy the things that everybody who already lives here enjoys. To open that up. So the city invested $365 million in housing, in new housing and housing strategies, creating 8.5 times more homes than it had before. See, one of the ways to celebrate and show gratitude for the good life that is possible in Ventura County is to provide it for more and more people, to be so proud of it, to be so celebratory of it that you want as many people as possible to enjoy the goodness that is here. The parks, the restaurants, the shopping, the events. I was on the Chamber of Commerce website this morning, and I was like, I want to live here. I mean, this is great. I want to go to that. 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 This is super, super fantastic. So again, the banner, driving into the county. This is a place for human flourishing where people can thrive and they can participate. And this, right below, there's another banner that says, we pay it forward. And we want people to enjoy all of the things that we enjoy. Thirdly, I want to introduce this last concept, and it's simply economic empowerment for all. What if the county's reputation is that not only is it a place where people can thrive and flourish, not only is it incredibly hospitable where people are committed to paying it forward, but it is also a place where everyone is economically empowered to be self-sufficient to participate in making the county better. Here's the basic idea that economic empowerment ensures that prosperity is an opportunity for everyone, not just a few people. Unlike redistribution, which reallocates resources, true empowerment upholds human dignity by fostering self-sufficiency and creativity and voluntary exchange. Protecting private property rights and market access allows individuals to create wealth through innovation and hard work, proving that economic exchange benefits everyone. This type of economic freedom and economic empowerment requires both the legal protections and moral responsibility, ensuring that all people can exercise their potential to contribute to the community with achieved, earned success. So one of the questions to ask is, how can this county be a place where people can experience economic mobility without having to move away? That is, to move away from redistribution, to move toward empowerment. Now, what this means naturally is that there has to be some imagination, some dreaming, some vision for new opportunities. I mean, what would it look like, for example, for a teacher? I looked this up this morning. So a teacher in Ventura, starting salary is $58,866. $58,866. $56,866. Okay. What would it look like to provide a context where a school teacher making $58,000 can experience social and economic mobility while staying in the county? What sorts of structures and institutions, what sort of pathways allow a school teacher to invest in the community, not just teaching the children, but having kids run into him or her at the grocery store? This builds affection and solidarity. This builds love and affection for the community. Remember, because the community is people. And to think about opening more and more opportunities up and trading some things off so that school teachers can have opportunities there. What would it look like? What would it look like, for example, for families that may be working in the agricultural sector, working in factories, that are currently living in homes where there are multiple families in the home? What would it look like to open it up and be so wide open that those families could be self-sufficient by owning their own home on their own property and experiencing social and economic mobility for themselves for generation after generation after generation? What would it look like? Are you willing to dream about what that means and what trade-offs are necessary to make that happen? So I want to close with simply thinking about this for you all. What's your legacy going to be? What's your reputation going to be when your children and grandchildren think about how you lived in this place? And what I'm inviting you to do is to use all of the capacity in this room, in the various spheres and the various sectors, to actually make a historic pivot for the county and to make the county the envy of the state, if not the country, by saying, we decided as a county, that we care about people so much that this is going to be a place of unbounding human flourishing. We are so hospitable and so affectionate toward people that we're going to pay it forward for them. And then lastly, we want everyone, regardless of where they fit in the socioeconomic spectrum, regardless of their job, we want everybody to have economic empowerment, that they can participate and make this county the best county in the world. Are you willing to dream that today? Let's dream together. Thank you.